Hi guys, it's Murray here, back again. If you kind of wonder where I'm working from, then I can just show you here. So there we go. Like a studio space where I can do some wood turning and woodwork and painting and thinking. So my visa arrived and it only took about 4 days, and I did it through it's www.vietnamimmigration.org. Now there's other organisations that do your visas as well. You can check through your travel agent on the best way to do that. I think today I'll talk a little bit about when you're slightly older. Travel, it's not easy. Travel's not easy, you know. If you're going to Vietnam, it's usually a long haul. Quite often involves a layover somewhere. You can stop somewhere and spend a night or two, or you can be in transit. And it's worth knowing that you can always ask your agent. You can get special assistance. You know, when you arrive at a airport, you've been on a long flight, you might be waiting for a transit, and they can pick you. A lot of these airports are really huge, you know, and a lot of walking involved. So with special assistance, you might get an electric cart to take you through to your next terminal where your flight might be departing from, or you can even get a wheelchair and they'll take you through customs and whatnot. Because today travelling, you know, it's like I say, the airports are really, really big and lots and lots of people. You've got to join the queue. There's not always any priority just because you've got a bit of grey hair. And then you've got to go through passport control, and then you go through security. And I think most of us know what security is like now. You've got to take your shoes off and your belt off and your pants are falling down, and they put you through the x-ray machine, and then you've got to repack your bags and carry on, you know. It's not easy. And if you're flying as a couple, of course, it's a little bit easier. You've got each other's back. You can travel with a friend and you can help each other out. And you can travel with a relative, maybe take a relative along with you that can help you out along the way. And like I was saying, Vietnam is, in most cases, is quite a distance from where you might be living, be it Europe, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, or other parts of the world, you know. Like I know my flight coming up, it's flying China Southern Air, and it goes from Auckland up to Guizhou in China, and that's nearly a 12-hour flight. And then there's a transit, and then there's another almost 3-hour flight down to Ho Chi Minh City. So take care of yourself when you're flying. If you can get compression stockings, then get them by all means. I know the last trip I did, I got compression stockings or socks, and they didn't fit, unfortunately. They were large size, but they didn't fit, so I couldn't use them. But look for them. Get compression stockings. On a flight, stay hydrated. It's very important, you know. You don't get enough fluid. Don't drink wine. You don't need to drink wine. All that'll do is give you a headache. And exercise. So the temptation on a flight is always to get the window seat, you know. Look out, maybe see the view and coming in, flying out or flying in, or the night sky, or whatever you might want to do. But I tend to go for aisle seats. I quite like an aisle seat. And the reason for that is I can get up. I can put one leg in the aisle, stretch my leg a little bit, and I can get up and go for a walk whenever I want. And I'll quite often walk the length of the plane, and I'll go down the back, and there's always some staff down there, or there's where they serve the meals from, and you can ask them for an orange drink or a bottle of water. You can do a few knee bends there, and just stay mobile. Don't sit there for 5 hours. That's not going to do you any good at all. So move and stay hydrated. And there'll be opportunities to sleep, of course. So you can have one of those neck brace devices. If you're doing a very long flight, and there is, I remember once I did a flight, it was 24 hours. It was just way too much. I flew into Ho Chi Minh City, and I waited there for about 6 hours to catch the onward flight. When what I should have really done, I should have got to Ho Chi and I should have gone into town and stayed for at least one night, you know. Vietnam, it's not a small country. You might look at the map and think it's a small country, but it's larger than the UK, for example. That's England, Scotland and Wales. It's larger than New Zealand by about 30%. It has a very long coastline of 2,000 or so kilometres. So short time travelling, if you're going for a week, I can suggest itineraries or 10 days, but it's you're not going to be flying around the country, put it that way. You know, it's all you're doing is travelling, and it's not really seeing a great deal, trying to do too much in a short amount of time. So if you only have 10 days, then you're going to have to tone it down a little bit, you know. Maybe from Hanoi you can go to Sapa and Cat Ba and Ninh Binh, and then back to Hanoi. That would take a week, 10 days. If you're at Da Nang, you can do Hue, Da Nang, Hoi An. That would be 10 days. You can go to, in the south, Phu Quoc Island. It's quite nice. They have Sun World. It's a whole town they've built, and it's kind of a bit like Venice, you know. They have canals and gondoliers, and it's quite interesting. And then at the other end of the island, in Phu Quoc, they've built like a huge town there, you know. Probably 50,000 people could live there, and there's about 10,000 living there. So it's modern, it's really nice. It's got lovely along the waterfront for walking. There's good food there. You can rent an apartment if you want to, and there's a couple of beaches further around if you look at the Google map. But it's also got one of the biggest cable cars in the world, and it's a fabulous cable car. I'll post some videos later on just so you can see it. But it goes from the end of the island, and then it's about 7 kilometres across, I think, and then it ends at another little island that has a park there, and a children's theme park. So if you have children, you know, 7, 8, 10, 12, then that's a great place to go to Vietnam and experience an overseas destination that is just fascinating and fun. All kinds of accommodation there, from the main town, and night market is quite a famous night market, and you can get accommodation from, like I say, $15 US. I talk US, and we got lucky, you know, when we were there. We were walking up the beach one day, and it was after COVID, and hotels were struggling, and we walked up, and there's a hotel there called Cassia Cottages, and it was like a 4-star resort, really. And we talked to them, and we got a discount. No Booking.com, none of that stuff. And we ended up staying there for 50 days, I think it was. And I put on an art exhibition there. It's owned by an American gentleman, Mark Barnett. He has a Vietnamese family, and I think his young son now will be taking over. They have 3 swimming pools on the beach, fabulous breakfast there, the best, just absolutely have a restaurant. But you can walk up from Cassia, you can walk up to the main road, and there's other restaurants along there. You can easily catch a cab into town, short distance. There's actually a free bus that goes from the main town out to Sunworld, so it costs you nothing to go out there. A free bus. So that's one of the example of a 10-day holiday. But I prefer longer, 3 weeks, if that's all you can spare. The longer the better, guys. So my visas vary from country to country. At the moment, places like Australia and New Zealand, you get 90-day visa. And I think from the UK, maybe no visa, but 45 days, visa free. But you'll have to double check that. And I've been over my 90-day stay there many times, nearly every time I go there. And from Phu Quoc, for example, you can organise a trip. They take you across by boat to Cambodia, and then they do the whole thing for you for renewing your visa. I've also, if you're in a place like Da Nang, there's Linh visa. You can go up by bus to Lao border, and they will renew your visa for you. And this time I'm actually, hopefully, we're not sure on what's happening in the world situation at the moment, but hopefully I'll be flying from Da Nang to Phnom Penh in Cambodia, just as another place, another country, another city. I've been to Cambodia, but in the south, from Cassia or from Phu Quoc. But from Da Nang you can fly to Phnom Penh, and then you can go up to Siem Reap if you fancy going to Siem Reap, and that could be on your way home, or you could return to Vietnam. So yeah, so when you're traveling, just take care of yourself. You're not the sprightly young thing anymore, and you're not flying to Spain. It's a long way, so look after yourself. So I did say to you that I would share some things with you. What have we got? I was telling you about my art journey, I think it was, and my painting and sculpture and poems and writing, which I'll share. I'll get around to it. But a little bit of an example of some of my paintings. Hopefully you can see them. One World, Mechanical Man, and Conception. On the right, One World, in the middle, Mechanical Man, and on the left, Conception. And shortly I'll show you my version of the Scream. That's that famous painting, and I did my version 35 years ago in wood, so I'll show you that shortly. So a little poem for you called Essence. If they want to know who or what I am, Tell them I am an artist, the essence of a man. Tell them that I make things to move the heart of man and make an understanding from wood or paper or poetry, all without a plan. Life is like an artist working without a plan, made of wood or paper or poetry and things you will never understand. But take life's wood or paper or poetry and hold it in your hand, because your future is surely in there, the very essence of man. And another one I wrote quite a while ago. You know, when you get a bit older, we've all had our ups and downs. We've all had our hard times. You know, there's some difficulties in life, and we have to work our way through them and come out the other side, and hopefully we're better off. I quite often say to people, you know, nobody gets through life unscathed. I mean, nobody. You know, you can have all the money in the world, you can live in a flash house and have all the worldly goods, you know. But at the end of the day, nobody gets through life unscathed, and you just got to deal with it, make the most of it, and stay strong, never surrender, never give up, carry on, folks, never give up. I've had some terribly hard times, but you come out the other end and you're a better person for it, and you can share your knowledge and you become more humble. The harder your life is, sometimes you can be more empathy and perhaps, you know, a little bit more humble. So, Jerusalem, what should I be? A writer writing a poem? A painter painting a picture? Should I turn the other cheek when you push me on the head, the shoulder and the heart? Should I be a lonely recluse, hidden away in a valley of lost tears, stolen dreams, hard nights and painful mornings? Should I go on for another day, holding on to a lost cause, hoping that I can reach that plane called success, which we all dream about, try so hard for and seldom find? Is mine a search without a future, a journey without an end, a life without meaning? Only if I let it be, will I? Life is many journeys, each one a mystery hard to fathom, but each a pathway from the past, looking for the future. Along the way, lost opportunities not seen, opportunities seen but not followed, for fear of another path, another journey, to only another bitter end. Or will I, just this once, find my Jerusalem? I also said to you, when I was doing my painting, I'm in New Zealand what they call a Pākehā, which is a white person, and I was a little bit uncomfortable using Maori imagery, but that's where things took me, you know. So there was a New Zealand artist, Ray Hammond, and I had a lot of respect for him. And I needed permission. I felt I need permission to do work using Maori imagery. So I went and saw Ray and showed him what I was doing. And he wrote me a prayer. And it goes like this. To you, Morris, with kinds of thoughts and aroha nui. Aroha nui is love. From us all, Ray and Marie Hammond. And all I ask of our Lord and Creator is that you be blessed with good health, so that you will continue in your beautiful messages, in your art, for all to understand their sacred meaning. Aroha nui, love, from Ray Hammond. Whoa. A treasure. There you go, you can take a screenshot of that one. So, let's hop outside and hop outside and take a look at my version of the Scream. He used to live in there, but at the moment he's living here. So I took him from a cherry burl, and he's 35 years old now, at least. But there he is, guys, my version of the Scream. So sleep well tonight, and I'll be getting back to you shortly, and we can talk some more about your upcoming trips to Vietnam. So Maury Jackson signing off from the Vietnam Old Timers Travel Guide.